So you almost had it. You scroll it down just a little bit more. You had scroll back up to the top. I meant right there.
All right.
Up.
Yeah.
Just come up just a little, just a smidgen. Back up a little bit, just a smidgen. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. I was zooming out. Yep. There we go. All right. Everybody's seeing that message.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Are we live?
We are live. We are live.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Go ahead and introduce us, and then we'll read that.
Okay. All right. I'll put us on the side here so they can see us while we have that on the screen. All right, there we are. There we are on the screen on the side. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to Family Finance Friday, brought to you by DJ the Money Coach and the Seven Spheres of Money Systems. This show is hosted by DJ the Money Coach and Nick Westbrooks. And before we go to tonight's beach, hit that like button, share the video with at least 5 people. And if you're not subscribed to DJ the Money Coach on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can help us spread the message of the Pom Pom Lifestyle Movement, which is plenty of money, peace of mind, and we invite you to come join us on the beaches of the world. And tonight's beach is the true meaning of Valentine's Day, as you see on the screen here, which we'll read in just a moment, and also the power of the 4x4. So let me go ahead and read this message that's on the screen, just in case you all watching, if it's too small for you or if you're listening and not looking. So the message says, Happy Valentine's Day. Today isn't just for couples. It's a celebration of love in all its forms. Whether it's the love of family, friendship, or self-love, may your heart be filled with warmth and joy. You are valued, appreciated, and loved. Right.
Exactly.
So down. All right.
And let me say, to give the credit, I actually got up this morning, and that was sent to me by a brother named Cornelius to me. And I was like, wow, man, that is awesome. So I appreciate Cornelius for sending that to me. So I immediately turned around and I sent it to the team, because that should be the essence of what this day should represent in your life. And without any other further ado, I want to say happy birthday to my auntie Melva. It's actually her birthday today, and that was reminiscent to remind me that today was her birthday. And I also want to say happy birthday to my auntie Sherry, which her birthday was the day before. So I want to say happy birthday to them, because them two amazing women were very instrumental in helping, raise me up in a righteous way. So shout out to them and to whomever else that may be having a birthday literally on today's day of what they celebrate commercially. But as that piece said, this is to let you know you are valued, appreciated, and loved, you, the individual. And it's not just something that has to be preempted by the flower industry and the commercialization. And it's not something that's just, what's the word, exclusively for women. And I think that's generally what typically happens. You're triggered, or you're prompted, or you're pressured as a man to start going out and purchasing stuff that may not be reminiscent of true love. And I had a couple of people hit me up and say, you're against these type of holidays, DJ the Money Coach. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I'm against the consumerism of them. Absolutely, 100%. And especially for people whose financials are not in order. Why would you sit out here and go into even more debt if you don't have the resources to actually participate in these commercialized events? So this week in of itself, over 75% of all the roses that are sold in America are sold specifically during this week for this particular commercial holiday. So as well, before we get into it, as Nick always asks me, hey, how am I feeling? Man, I'm feeling great. So every day above ground with your health is a great day to be alive. And today, Valentine's Day, is no exception to the rule. So let us give all praise and glory to the Most High that we have our health and we have another great Friday. And wherever you are, if you don't have great health, may we pray that your health is expeditiously restored in the quickest and safest manners. Because there's a couple of different things that I saw that was, repulsive at the same time on the health issue. So I'm gonna turn it back over to Nick, because we don't cut Nick out on his introduction before I go off and talk about what we're going to talk about today.
All right. Yeah, well, it's a great day, great day to be alive, great time to be alive. It's a busy time, definitely a busy time around this time of the year. We're at the halfway point of the school year, for me, and I'm teaching seniors this year, so it's a lot of work getting them ready. We just completed midterms, just completed the second marking cycle, and a lot of them came into the school year already with senioritis. So just giving them that motivation. It's been busy. It's been a lot of work, but it's a good work. And hey, yeah, I'm ready to get into it. I got some plans this evening, so let's get into it.
Cool. Sounds great, man. That's awesome. So hey, also too, I want to give a shout out to my beloved daughters. Again, I am, there's a saying, teach and preach what you live and practice on a regular basis. So I am a proponent for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. I'm a proponent and an avid advocate for homeschooling, because we have homeschooled our 4 children. My oldest child, from the moment he turned 6 years of age, we saw a disruptive technology called Khan Academy. And we decided, instead of putting them into a traditional school or a day prison, that we would create our own curriculum with science and business, and using this awesome platform called Khan Academy. And at the time, it was so funny, when you're so far out ahead of everybody in technology and vision, people thought Khan Academy was some type of scam. But now today, Khan Academy is the establishment for the best educational platform on the internet. So with that said, my youngest 2, my oldest daughter, she last week on the musical front, she qualified for state as a cellist, which is a top honor in our state, because that puts you in the 1%. And she's going to be performing, and she got rated. It's the top rating. I don't want to get mixed up. It's a 1. That's right. So they have 5 is the lowest and 1 is the highest. And she rated 1 in 2 categories that gave her the promotion and the acknowledgement to go to state, which is huge for scholarship opportunities. So my oldest daughter did that last week. Today, my youngest daughter, she qualified in science, technology, engineering, math, science for regionals. And I couldn't be more proud of her. And mind you, the core of my children's educational, from K through 12, 8 out of 12 of those years have been homeschooled right here in this home under our curriculum. And it says nothing but kudos to all the people out there who are taking control of their children's education, and I'm sure Nick can appreciate this as an educator, that how important it is for you to give your children the right education, exposure, and as well helping them become global-minded people and travel around the world. So all 4 of my children have passports, have been out of the country on multiple times, and that's part of their educational advancement, and that makes them more balanced than the average child who has not been exposed outside of America, because we're living in different times and we're not living in a vacuum. So we're excited about that. So hats off to them. And if you're homeschooling your children as well, hats off to you, because your children are probably advanced, they're probably balanced, they're more dignified, they're more respectful, and they have honor for the name on the back of the jersey. And that's the most important part, ladies and gentlemen. So today, we also want to, say shout out to those people who are being appreciative and being, regarded, on this day that they cherish, that makes them feel a little bit extra and a little bit extra special. So happy Valentine's to you as well. And hopefully you get the essence of the day and not get caught up in the trappings of the commercialization of it. And if you can and afford and have the resources to take the special someone out on a date, and it's not the only time you ever dated them, because you don't have a set aside date night with your spouse, your girlfriend, or your fiance, then I would tell you, make sure that if you're going to do this, be consistent in it. Okay. So with that said, I want to talk about, the importance of the 4x4 as it pertains to Family Finance Friday. What is the 4x4? Nick's going to put that up, because this is the core principles of success when it comes to business, when it comes to life, when it comes to going through the 3 phases of life as it pertains to finances. So the first phase that you go through in life is a learning phase, which I call the struggle. And the struggle is where you are beginning, your formative years and the beginning of your career or your adult life. So you're learning, you got a formal education, and now you're trying to figure out how to become a pro's pro. So generally, financially, unless you come from a super affluent family, well-to-do, you're going to financially struggle, rightfully so that you can earn your stripes and develop intestinal fortitude to understand who you really are. And that phase is generally the first, 2 to 3, 5 years coming out of college, trade school, etc., and learning how to, manage money for the first time. Maybe you got that first apartment, or maybe you're sharing that first, co-op with somebody. This is that process that you go through. And the importance of that is that that's building the foundation for you as a man and for you as a woman. And matter of fact, my oldest son, he's about to go through that process. Fortunately for him, he's not going to have the financial struggle, because he came out of school completely debt-free, scholarship, and he went through the STEM program that we put him in through a very stringent and a very competitive science, technology, engineering, math curriculum. And then he went to the top tier school. And now he's been fortunate that his struggle has been accelerated, where he's going to learn more about manhood, because he's about to embark and move to the West Coast of America to start his professional, software engineer gig. And he's literally starting on Monday. And I want to say shout out to him and congratulations. And we couldn't be more prouder of you, son, because you are truly repping the name on the back of the jersey better than I could have ever had done at 20 years of age. I mean, he's wise beyond his years, and man, we couldn't be more proud. And most importantly, we're blessed to be stewards of this amazing young man. So I want to say shout out to him, and man, we're going to make sure you have safe travels to your destination. And when you start that gig on Monday, man, you're going to knock it out the park. So now those first 3 to 5 years, you learn about your finances, you learn about living on your own, separate from the college base, and really getting to know who you are and how to navigate society. So then you go to the second phase. This is when you become a professional and you really know who you are in your career. You start to create success, which in the American concept is that I have arrived. I can buy that house. I can buy that car. And not only am I buying a car, but I'm able to buy that car of my choice. And now I'm making professional income. And what I call professional income as an individual, I'm making $75,000 to $150,000 a year. And I am the poster child for true success and, quote, the American dream. And now you're starting to accumulate assets. You're starting to broaden your horizon. People are calling on you for your professional services. You're getting chose to represent companies as their ambassador, the representative. You're getting promoted to manager, to C-suite, and you are really kicking butt. And typically, this really begins, in your early to mid 30s, and you now are starting to embark upon, hey, man, I think it's time, to get married, start a family, and hunker down. So now you have achieved that financial success, spiritual success, and you are a true representation of what this American dream is all about. Now, very few people accomplish the third phase. The third phase is the one that's the most important, and it's the most important because it demonstrates a servanthood leadership, an unselfish capacity of the human essence, and that's significance. And significance basically means, in a nutshell, you put yourself aside, your aspirations, your ambitions, and you now start to help everybody else. And this is how you create your legacy. And ironically and unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, very few people aspire for significance because they don't have an unselfish bone in their body, because it's all I, me, is everything in their conversation. And I can tell you, I used to be the number one member of that club, the I, me club. It used to be unapologetically. And lo and behold, that I know I was on the wrong ladder climbing up a fast track to nowhere, because all I was concerned about was the love of money. And fortunately, I was able to get out of that rut, in my early to mid 30s after having, to overcome some, devastating situations. But fortunately, I was brought to light that it's important to be significant in life than to be successful. It also lines up in direct correlation with Maslow, who talks about, self-actualization, where generally maybe 1% of the population actually achieves self-actualization, and maybe 5% of the population achieve significance, where they're helping other people become successful through the struggle to the success process, so they can create a legacy that will last beyond their existence on this planet. And how do we get there if we don't have some type of system, some form of characteristics that will generate the amount of resources financially and the amount of resources and people capital in order for you to become significant in someone else's life? Albeit you can help them from a mentorship, an apprenticeship, to help impact, where you can volunteer your time. There's a lot of different ways to kill a cat. I'm trying to sit up here and plug in my thing. Look like my battery is going out. Let's see here. Let me see. Okay. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So again, I don't know what it is with these new technologies. These batteries don't last as long as they normally do. So I apologize. Yeah. So, it's all different ways to skin a cat. So how do you do that? And how is that relevant to Family Finance Friday? Well, here's the relevancy part, is that you have to incorporate a system. And we have created a system that we call the 4x4 that has nothing to do with talent, has nothing to do with skill sets. It has to do with consistently putting in an effort regardless of the circumstances. No matter if you're having a great day or a bad day, you have to incorporate a system to achieve going through the 3 phases of life, to go from the struggle to success to significance. And the reason why we're talking about that today is because, as everybody in the beginning of 2025, they want to thrive. But there's massive different changes in the White House that are affecting people's lives from an economic standpoint, that's making some people's lives almost unbearable. And then they have to reach back and dig down to see how they can overcome, forget about, surviving, but how do we thrive? So typically, how do you continue to thrive is you have to go back to the basics in life. And so we went back to the basics in life. And so we have the first part of the 4x4, we call the 4 dirty little words. And over the past 21 days, we as a team, we went back to the 4 dirty little words. Discipline. What does that look like? Discipline is this: a regimen that you do every day, regardless of what's going on, the weather, your mindset, your mental. You discipline yourself in order to do things that you have to do so you can do what you want to do. What is the discipline that we do? We as an organization, we have a health, wellness thread that we created, and we all voluntarily get up and we put in our stats. So our stats for us, for me primarily, is I get up and I read the Proverbs of the day. And the Proverbs today was amazing. Proverbs 14, man, it addressed the biggest reasons why we fail in life. It talks about laziness. It talks about work. It talks about unselfishness. It talks about humility. How apropos for it to be Proverbs 14 on a day like Valentine's Day, when people are being commercialized to spend money that they don't have. So getting up today, for me, discipline was so important from this aspect, Nick, is that we had a weather shift. So we went from 80 degrees weather the past 7-8 days. Immediately we dropped down to like 40. So my natural reaction, because I'm a night person, is, man, I don't want to get out of the bed. However, I've got 3 very important appointments, meetings with some very important people that I've been trying to get in touch with over the past month. So I remember I'm watching this sports coach talk about, again, why is it that certain people succeed and other people don't? And a lot of times, people that succeed, that they don't expect to succeed, that don't have incredible talent, don't have incredible skill sets. He said, number one thing is they don't hit the snooze alarm in the morning. They get up and they go get it. He said, the second thing is they never quit. He said, the third thing is, most importantly, he said, they never complain about their circumstance. And he said, the fourth thing they do, Nick, they always ask questions. How can I get better from their coaches and their teachers and their trainers? And they take that information and they discipline themselves and they go to work. And he was talking about the great story of Jalen Hurts. And he talked about specifically, ladies and gentlemen, how Jalen Hurts made himself into a $350 million quarterback, not when he won the Super Bowl this past Sunday. He talked about when Jalen Hurts was benched at the University of Alabama when they were in the national championship game in his sophomore year at halftime, because Jalen was struggling and Nick Saban didn't give a damn about Jalen Hurts. He took him out of the game and inserted Tua to get the championship instead of giving Jalen the ability to come back and play better the second half. Albeit the year before, Jalen led them to the promised land. Jalen only had 2 losses in 2 years, but Nick Saban, he was more concerned about his success and not significance. So he benched the young man in front of the whole world. But guess what? Jalen incorporated those 4 things. Number one, he didn't complain. Number 2, he asked the questions, how do I get better? Number 3, he held himself accountable to higher standards, and he showed immense humility, and he actually commended, hugged, and raised that trophy up with Tua and never showed any envy, any resentment. He went on, graduated from Alabama, got his undergraduate degree, and said nothing bad about the Alabama program, and went on to Oklahoma and learned how to become a quarterback under a better coordinator and end up finishing second in the Heisman. It was that moment, ladies and gentlemen, that Jalen Hurts changed the financial trajectory of his whole lineage for as long as there is an earth. Because nobody besides Jalen Hurts, his father, and his siblings thought that one day he would win the Super Bowl and yet alone the MVP. Because right after he graduated from Oklahoma with his secondary degree, he was still not thought of as a premier quarterback prospect. Thus, he was only drafted late in the second round to be a backup to another quarterback, Wentz, who was about to win the MVP for the National Football League. And people were like, why are you drafting this kid just to be his study? Because he's never going to see the field ever. Guess what? God had other plans. Jalen took these 4 dirty little words. He disciplined himself. He learned how to become a quarterback. He became accountable to God, his family, and the new quarterback system to teach him how to be a passer and not just a running quarterback. And he plugged into a system of success under the best offensive coordinator to get him on the right position to get prepared for the NFL. And then he went to work for 6 years. And now, all of a sudden, he incorporated the 4 P's. And this is what's important. The 4 P's is number 1, professionalism. So Nick's going to put that up there. So this is so important. So Jalen Hurts, when people speak of Jalen Hurts, the first thing they say, ultimate leader. He's the type of young man that you would want your daughter to be married to. He's the type of young man that you would want heading your organization, from the C-suite to the boys club to the church. Jalen Hurts is your guy. So him showing that amazing professionalism. What do we mean by that? Look the part, speak the King's English, wear the proper professional clothing. Don't get outside of your character and do stupid stuff when it's typical for somebody in his age group. He's only 26 years of age, but this young man carries himself like a well-seasoned veteran in his late 30s to early 40s, but he still knows how to have fun, but he knows how to stay within the lines. So now, from him showing the astute professionalism and in downloading and incorporating into his life, number two, persistence. Jalen persistently followed his plan that he had since he was 12 years of age to become a Super Bowl champion quarterback. And then the most important one is to have the wherewithal and intestinal fortitude that when he was 12 years old and he went to this football camp and he didn't make the top tier cut, he went to coach and he said, "Hey, coach, what do I have to do next year to make it to the top tier cut?" He gave him the instructions and he went and did it. And he stayed in character, stayed authentically true to himself. And a lot of that is because he had a great foundation, a strong father, a strong mother, together, still married, that laid the foundation for him to overcome adversity, which is generally just life lessons. So when he was at Alabama, he was the go-to guy. He was able to overcome the most catastrophic event that people emotionally generally don't have the capacity to overcome because they become embittered. And what looked like a humiliation tour on national TV in the national championship game for college football, he turned it into a wealth of knowledge, humility, and gold to pave his road to becoming an MVP, world champion, Super Bowl quarterback for 2025. So that perseverance. And number four, when the bright lights are the brightest, he learned, because this Super Bowl wasn't his first Super Bowl. He actually was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and he actually outperformed Patrick Mahomes again. He had a spectacular Super Bowl performance in his first Super Bowl, but he just made one minor mistake, and that propelled the Chiefs to get in situation to beat the Eagles by a mere field goal, 38-35. But Jalen played exceptionally well, threw over 300 yards in the air, several touchdowns, had great running yards, but he lost and he learned. And then this time he had the impeccable, flawless, perfect performance in Super Bowl 59. He went out there, he threw for 221 yards, almost 71% passing efficiency, threw for 2 air touchdowns, both were beautiful dimes. One to his main man, A.J. Brown, throws a beautiful 46-yard bomb to just blow out the Kansas City Chiefs to Devontae Smith. He did his famous, quarterback sneak, which is now known as the push tush. So this brother piled up 3 touchdowns, had the best offensive rating in the Super Bowl, and he brought home the MVP. And most importantly, his 2 Super Bowl performances, the brother has compiled 10 touchdowns, 3 rushing, and 7 passing, and only threw 1 interception, and transformed his livelihood from mere example of following a proven system, what we call the 4x4. Now, Jalen and his family might call it something else, but at the end of the day, this is what it takes to create financial, multi-generational wealth. It's not talent, ladies and gentlemen. It's not skill sets. It's intestinal fortitude, and it's in the intangibles in life. So first thing first, the 4x4, 4 dirty little words. Discipline yourself, or you'll be disciplined by somebody. Number 2, accountability. That means have yourself accountable to the people who can get you to the next level, and don't condemn, complain, or criticize, or complain about the work that they give you, and then plug into the system and be learnable, teachable, and duplicatable. And then number 4, go to work. And then show the intangibles to put you in the C-suite, the 4 Ps, professionalism. Talk the talk. If you're an educator like Nick, then speak in the vocabulary of teachers. Talk in terms of curriculum, midterms, final exams, SATs. Those types of languages. If you're in the financial business, you talk in terms of P&Ls, profit and loss, general ledgers, Roth IRAs, emergency funds, annuities, insurance. You speak that King's English. If you're in the travel world, you talk about tourism, pictures, exotic destinations, warm weather, white sand beaches like Zanzibar. You follow me? That's professionalism. You wear the proper attire. If I'm going to a business meeting, I wear business clothing, business suits, ties, tight haircuts, shiny shoes, shiny teeth, clean performance. Then I show up on time. If the meeting starts at 7 a.m., I'm there at 6:45, ready to rock to start at 7 a.m. I come early, I stay late. Then I incorporate persistence to pursue my plan until it is complete. And as a leader, I expect challenges which are mere, M-E-R-E, opportunities in disguise to separate the men from the boys and the girls from the women. And then I understand that once or twice a year or in a career, there's going to be a catastrophic event or there's going to be a windfall, and I know how to handle it. Don't get too high, don't get too low, but I just keep moving right ahead. And then again, when the lights are the brightest and they expect you to be the superstar and everybody knows you're getting the ball, which the strategy and the game plan for the Chiefs were, hey, we're going to put 8 in the box and Saquon Barkley is not going to run up 150 yards on us, and we're going to go to what we perceive is the weak link, which is the strongest link, and we're going to make Jalen Hurts beat us with his arm because we don't think he can. But needless to say, they forgot he threw 320-something yards on him in the first Super Bowl, and he came right back again and lit the Kansas City secondary up, and he performed on the brightest stage. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what can get you to the road to success that has nothing to do with your talent, nothing to do with your skill sets, because these are all intangibles that are characteristics of a winner, a leader, and a shepherd. To become a man's man and a woman's woman. And in today's world, that is important. It's apparently obvious why certain people win and certain people complain. And in our world, we say, hey, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And that's what it's about. So why is that important to us? Because as I was saying, our discipline, we start out with our regiment. I get up, I hit Proverbs. I don't rush through it. I take my time. I read it. I let it seep in. And I start to let that download go into the second phase of my regiment, is where I come to prayer. And then I ask God for guidance, or I meditate on the word. So I'm grafting it into my soul. So today's prayer was, God, give me humility. God, thank you for my health. God, thank you for these challenges so I can see the learning opportunity to become a better man, to become a better leader, a better winner, because that's important. And then I said, thank you for these meetings that you put on my calendar and rewarded me from the work that I put into play when nobody's watching. And I said, God, regardless of the outcome of these meetings, I'm grateful that you bless me with the opportunity to put the work in. And then on top of that, I said, you know what? God, continue to put a hedge of protection around our families, our team, and let us be a blessing in the lives of the people we're going to come in contact today to make their lives better. And then I ended it up and I said, thank you for our salvation. And thank you for the discernment and understanding that you provide us with. And then I got up from there, and then I go into a physical regimen. I do a hard 15-minute workout to get the body ready. Got the mind tells the body what to do. And I hunker down on the workout because I said, you know what? It's colder than I expect it to be, but I got to use that as my motivation. The physical application, ladies and gentlemen. And then from there, I say, hey, let me do a health check. What's the health check? The health check is, hey, I check my blood pressure. I check my pulse. I check my weight to make sure I'm being consistently. I don't want to be up and down. I want to be consistent. And then I put some fuel in the engine, baby. Healthy fuel. The proper proteins, the proper fruits, the proper vegetables. And then I go to work, baby. And then I give a report to my team so that they can gauge where I am, to give me feedback, give me evaluation as we do collectively as a team in that accountability. So why is that important? Because it's important. If you're going to be a leader, a winner, and a shepherd, you have to preach what you practice. Before I can ask anybody on the team to do something, I have to do it. That's accountability. That's leadership. That's Jalen Hurts. So it does not surprise us when we have success, because what we've done is we incorporated certain types of things we have to do every day, regardless of what the results are. We put the work in. We make 100 calls. We send out 100 emails. We send out 100 direct messages to talk to people about what we want to do in our enterprise. And we expect success to knock on our door. But when it does, we open it with welcome, humility, and gratitude. And that's what the message is today for you, ladies and gentlemen. So what we want to do is we want to say thank you and give a shout out to these amazing people who answered the call of our reach for the program we're doing. So we want to give a shout out to the amazing Sherry J on the West Coast, who's going to engage in an awesome pilot program with us. We give a shout out to Zemi in Singalese, who's going to engage in an amazing pilot program with us. We're going to give a shout out to Ellie, who's going to engage in a deep conversation about doing some pilots and some business opportunities with our communities together. And before I shout out the rest of the people, here's how you build proper community is you have to practice these other 5 principles of success. Number 1, cooperative economics. This is the bane of Family Financial Friday. Cooperative economics, meaning I intentively find professionals that look like me, talk like me, to go into business and create economic success together. Number 2, we leverage our professional networks. That means that you have a great network and influence in a sphere of people that I don't know. I have a great network and a leverage sphere of people that you don't know. And because we practice cooperative economics, we have no problem introducing those networks to one another without any barriers or any concerns. And then number 3, we take proven ecosystems. Our ecosystem is called the 7 Spheres of Money. That banner that you see behind Nick, we created this ecosystem back in 2002. And that ecosystem has created success and significance for several people. So now, 7 Spheres of Money, we go out and we look for other proven ecosystems like Ellie, like Sherry, like the Power Network series by Dr. George Fraser. And now we create the perfect marriage of interdependent relationships. That's where you bring 2 great, successful ecosystems together to make your Voltron. And the beauty of this, ladies and gentlemen, is that one ecosystem has strengths in an area and the other ecosystem has strengths in the other area, and they bring them together. You don't bring 2 ecosystems with the same services, product, and resources together. You bring one with one that the other doesn't have, so it becomes a perfect marriage like a yin and yang. They complement each other. So we take the cooperative economics, ladies and gentlemen. We use the leveraging of the professional networks. We take successful ecosystems and we create interdependent relationships, not dependent relationships, interdependent relationships. And when you do that, the magic happens. And number 4, you create equity and ownership in everything that you create. So when you take the whole layout, the blueprint is what they call it. I take the 4x4, which is the intangibles and the work. I take the 5 principles of how to do business. And now we are easily able to navigate from struggle to success to significance. And now you have created the perfect system of permanent wealth for your family. Now, let me say this. Are there going to be times when you're going to be down? Absolutely, because we're human. Are there going to be times when you're going to think that it's never going to shine again? Absolutely. But the best part about this is having the ability to reach out and have a hand from your fellow brother, man. Like Cornelius sent me today that beautiful poetic piece about the true essence of Valentine's. So what we strive to do here on Family Finance Friday with Nick Westbrooks and me, yours truly, DJ the Money Coach, is to continue to show you the blueprint, the humility, and the ability to turn that narrow focus into a field of diamonds. And by doing that consistently for 3 weeks, we were able to engage with 11 amazing people who represents 11 amazing ecosystems. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Are we going to do business with all 11 of them? Probably not. But most likely, if we create interdependent relationships with 2 or 3 of them, we will change the world. Why do I say that? Because some of these people, organizations, have over 1 million subscribers. Some of them have over 2 million subscribers. So imagine if we can just help them make their ecosystem better and their community better, and we just had a 5% penetration. 5% of 3 million is 150,000 people, which represents at least 15,000 families. But what if we didn't have a vision or a discipline or an accountability like a young Jalen Hurts when he had what would have been catastrophic, challenges in his life, and we didn't have a plan and somebody to be accountable to? How would we have gotten here? So we've gotten here by reaching out to Coach Rambo. Shout out to you. Down to earth, great guy. Can't wait to re-engage with him and Marvin. Shout out to Camille. Shout out to Mindset Martin out in the Florida area. Shout out to my man Ramon. Luxury Lapels. Look him up. Makes custom suits that are spectacular. Shout out to the Black Family Foodies out of my hometown of Chicago. Shout out to Raquel for her retreats that does health and wellness holistic retreats for women exclusively. And if you want to go to a retreat, ladies and gentlemen, get in touch with her. They're going to Bali for the second time. Shout out to her. We're excited about starting, a relationship with them. Shout out to Laverne out in the UK. Mom's and a kid. She's raising and taking care of a young kid with sickle cell and doing an amazing job. Excited about, potential work with us. And then last but not least, shout out to Mona Lisa Shakespeare, who's actually landing on our resort right now to do some projects together with us. This is the benefit of the 4x4, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we can come out here today and celebrate the essence of the true meaning of what Valentine's Day is all about, because over the last 3 weeks, unapologetically, through good weather, bad weather, we got up, we punched the clock, and we didn't hit snooze, and we did the everyday regimen, and now the fruit is starting to manifest on this tree amazingly, and it's just all glory to God. Pure and simple. All glory to the amazing team that God has blessed us with, beginning with the nucleus, Nick Westbrooks. Nick and I are going to be celebrating our 5th year anniversary as DJ the Money Coach, but Nick and I have been together longer than that. I think it'll be 7 years from the initial time that we met on another platform, but we're still together. Shout out to Renee, who put our platforms together in terms of our websites. Shout out to Kadera, who is the 3rd person on the team, who's our chief information officer, who does a spectacular job. And she was the one who actually created the health thread to say, hey, we should do this. Good, positive peer pressure. Think about that. Shout out to Financially Free D, who curates all of our trips and does amazing business credit programs for individuals and small business owners, getting them amazing lines of credit, real lines of credit, like commercial businesses do, not this fake stuff. Actually underwriting. Shout out to Tajir, who at the young age of 26 is the president of our corporation in Zanzibar, who was a prodigy on Wall Street as a senior financial analyst, doing jobs on $75 to $100 million projects for private equity real estate, commercial real estate projects, and saw the wherewithal to come on board and do this for us as a team player. Shout out to Gerald, who handles our corporate sponsorships, and a man who embodies the testament of perseverance and overcome, hardships, never condemn, never complain, and just keep moving forward with his amazing twin sons that he's raising so well that they couldn't be more blessed to have a great father like he is. Shout out to Isaiah, who, just like Nick, comes with us from another platform and now does all our videos and editing. And then shout out to my son, who helps in the editing process. These are the blessings, ladies and gentlemen. These are the blessings when the revenues are not where you expect them to be. The people are not trying to hear what you're trying to tell them, because real wealth is in family. My grandfather said this, and I'll leave him with this, Nick. He said, if you lose money, son, you lost nothing. He said, if you lose an associate or a peer, or maybe a sort of a friend, you lost a little something. But he said, if you ever lose the name on the back of the jersey that belongs to me, because it takes 30 years to build a great name from character, integrity, hard work, and discipline, your legacy can be all wiped out. In a snap of a finger, you lost everything. So when the chips are down and the money's not there, and God's blessed you to be a man of character and a woman of character, you are wealthy beyond your imagination. And just be patient, filled with love, purpose, the 4x4, and God's going to bless you on this amazing Valentine's Day, because he's only seeing, are you going to be a faithful servant? And in essence, David asked God for only wisdom and discernment. That was the only thing he asked God for. And God said, you know what? Since your heart only asked me for wisdom and discernment, and you asked me for nothing else, David, I'm giving you everything. So I hope today, this message coming to you on February 14th, 2025, on Family Finance Friday, brings you inspiration, motivation, and activation. Because again, faith without works is dead. I'm DJ the Money Coach. This is my main man, Nick Westbrooks. And I'm going to say happy Valentine's to my loved one. We wish you a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money, but most importantly, peace of mind. And we want you to come travel with us under the Beaches of the World Club, called Love, Peace, and Harmony, on this amazing Valentine's Day. So with that said, Nick, roll tape, take them to video, and we out. Enjoy your Valentine's Day, my friend, and everybody else. We'll see you next week on the same channel. God bless. On the Beaches of the World Club and our brand new resort in Zanzibar, Tanzania. That's right, 7 days, 6 nights, transportation, excursions, personal chef, and beautiful sunsets on the white sand beaches of Zanzibar for only $9.99 or 3 easy payments. So come join us on the Beaches of the World Club in paradise during Black History Month. on everything. We're going to give you a master training, 3-hour course, 2 consultations. We're going to teach you how to build credit up to $100,000 interest-free for 18 months. Pay off your home in 7 to 10 years. And most importantly, create $8,333 a month. Passive income. It's a $997 course. You get it all today for $97. Hit that link